Listen, I wanted to talk to Scarlett about this. This is a pressing point on my mind. Being that I live in Europe now and I come back to LA, I was immersed in the Los Angeles, United States culture like a goldfish in water. Mm-hmm. So you don't recognize sometimes how sinister it is here. Dangerous, expensive. The quality of life seems so diminished in comparison to Europe. The quality of life, of course, everything has its pros and cons. But when I come back, that's what I wanted to ask you. How do you feel about the quality of life here? What's behind your decision to move back to Europe? You live in Los Angeles now, and you're moving back.
Yeah.
What's your thinking?
I mean, again, to me, it's a lot to do about your budget. Like if you're Kim Kardashian and you got a nanny for each kid and you got chauffeur for each kid and, whatever, then maybe it's okay to be here. But I don't know, fundamentally, if you, like you said, the way, okay, yes, here people make a lot more money. They have money in their pocket. But
and we have Erewhon and Whole Foods.
But you spend, the food cost is crazy. And like in Europe, like if you start charging too high level, like people will freak out.
True.
They will go in the street and be like, I am not paying these prices.
That's true, yeah.
And like this is a necessity of life. You cannot, but in America, they're like, oh, tuna fish went up to $15.
Yeah.
All right, I'll take one instead of three,
Right.
It's like, what? Okay, so you have, you don't make, your salary is not as big in Europe, but you have free healthcare.
Very true.
So you don't have
safety net, social safety net.
Yeah, you have and the money that they're putting away for you is going to be actually for you, like when you reach retirement age. You know what I mean? Like the result is better than in America. Anyways. And then again, like the schooling.
Right, of course.
Here, private schools, like my kid is in preschool.
Don't
and it's
tell me,
$20K.
Get the fuck out of here.
And then imagine
what?
$40K.
$20K in preschool?
Yeah. And apparently preschool is expensive, because I thought, maybe it's because she's going to the fancy, private French school. But no, any preschool in LA is expensive. So you got all, and then again, like in Europe, it's, taking holidays is part of the social structure. Like the way that they think is that people need breaks. You can't ask somebody to just work all the time. They won't be a good worker, And kids get holidays, not just for Christmas, but to go skiing. Like you have your Christmas holiday, and then in February you have another holiday just so you can go to ski. And you have, for Halloween, we also have 2 weeks. I mean, there's constant, they are,
for
so
Halloween,
they make you work really
2
hard.
weeks for Halloween?
Yeah,
right.
For Toussaint, they make you work really hard, but then you get this constant, breaks. Where here you just feel like it's just like work. And then you're just going to burn out.
Right.
And.
So in other words, it does, and that is my observation, that underlying the European culture is more of a humanist.
Yeah.
Kind of it's a more wiser culture in some regards. It's a much older culture.
Yeah. People get here afraid of socialist or this idea.
Yeah, of course.
But it's it's not easy to think about your health, maybe, or to worry, to put money aside for that. It's easier in a way. I mean, people say, oh, the nanny state, we don't want the nanny state.
Right.
I'm like, actually, I do. Because I want these things, take the money you need. You're the government. You organize it. It's a lot to organize.
Yeah.
And, I pay for the girls and I pay insurance. It's $1,500, which is like, again.
Are you talking about here?
No, here.
You're talking about per quarter, though, right? Or are you talking about every fucking month?
Every month I pay $1,500 for every kid. And I thought, they're kids, they'll be cheaper.
Right.
No, they're the same price as an adult. And I was like,
yeah, because the insurance companies, they know you need to have them insured.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you still pay copay when you go, even though that's the biggest. I got like the maximum.
Still.
Yeah. I'm like, come on.
Capitalists.
And it's really, yeah. And I think, you know, it's like, okay, my great example is the baby formula. Okay. Not even getting into the fact that there's a shortage here and they don't even have any baby formula. But baby formula in France costs 11 euros. Okay. At the, you know, at the Whole Foods.
Sure.
Right. Here, it's 60. It's like 58 something. And you're like, what? Like to me,
how many bottles are we talking about?
I mean, that's, you know, it's like a can, but they're the same size can. You know,
Jesus.
from one country to the next. And to me, this is criminal.
That's criminal.
It is. This is, you know, and it's like the thing, like with the pink tax on all the feminine necessities, and like this way of America, like this capitalist way of thinking. It's gross.
It is gross, dude. It really is gross. You're getting juice. You're getting jabbed. It's here and there. Someone's always taking their little you know, tax.
Yeah.
And it's exhausting after a while.
And then you have to worry about, like, as a parent, you have to think about if their kids are going to get shot at school.
Again.
Like, I know it doesn't really happen in, you know, big cities like LA, but still you have
people getting shot all the time. It's crazy.
I know, but like, I mean, there hasn't been that many. I don't know, maybe there has, but I just mean like, yeah, like there's that constant fear.
The danger.
That there's this danger that your kid is going to be at school and people have guns here.
Guns. This is what we're talking about, Scarlett.
Yeah, guns.
The guns. I mean, I've been here for, 3 weeks. I saw this rapper kid. He was murdered at Roscoe's. Yeah, you know, it was in the news. Somebody always, his girl posted that they were at Roscoe's. And then these gunmen came from the post, murdered him in front of her, took his chain.
Why?
For the chain.
Just for that?
I don't know. Maybe there's a beef. I don't know.
Right.
No, you know, whatever. But what I'm saying is that the callousness.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a whole other conversation of culture and everything, but the guns.
The guns, the Wild West.
Yeah, dude. And there's guns everywhere. Everyone's got guns. I don't feel safe being here. I just feel after leaving here and coming back, I can sense a definite sinister vibe in the air, a paranoia where you're constantly looking over your shoulder. You know, you're walking, you hear footsteps behind you, and you're just like, yo, who is this? I get out of the car, I see it's a shadow. They're spooked out, dude, all the time.
I was at Target in Hollywood, and, you know, there's a guy who's, you know, probably has some mental issues, but he starts sort of shouting, and he's saying, like, you better call security, and like he's like having a melt, and I'm thinking, let's get out, like, drop the stuff, we're out of here. You know, last night I got woken up at 5. A guy, he was, you know, we're staying at the Chateau, the hotel, and I could hear him, and I guess he was coming. He wanted to smoke a cigarette, and the security guard was like, "You can't come and smoke here." And he's like, "Who the fuck do you think you are? You know, you're just a valet. Who the fuck are you?" But it was so intense.
Yeah.
And we were like,
the anger, the fucking
anger. But and I
aggression.
get it, but also like the disparity between, like, you know, now it's getting so intense here of the people who have and the people who don't have.
I know.
And there's so much homelessness. And
dude, that is a huge thing.
You know.
The homeless encampments everywhere. And also the kind of, people have just kind of, well, I guess that's how it is. And I saw, a few weeks back, I saw this woman pushing a stroller on La Cienega. And there was an encampment blocking the sidewalk. And she had to go into the street. And it was like a fair amount of traffic. You know, she had to go into traffic to go around them. And they're everywhere. There's lots of unbalanced people walking around. I mean, everyone's talking about this all the time. I'm not gonna beat a dead horse. But all of these things, it's a poor quality of life.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And everybody's like, oh, we're the richest country in the world. And it's like, yeah, but you don't take care of anybody.
I know.
And this is like, you know, and so I don't want to live in this kind of, with this sort of mentality, you know, and like, let's not even like get into like the drug.
Oh, Jesus.
I mean, we already knew that if we were going to stay here, we would definitely move by the time they were 10, because especially when you're sending your kid to a fancy, super expensive school, but maybe even in public school, I don't know. But, there's just so many kids are dying from taking fentanyl.
I heard about this.
And it's
the culture.
And it's being mixed in. They don't know. They think they're taking something else. And there's no, it's not like they go into they're having an overdose and no, they just die.
You're done.
And I'm like, I can't live with all that fear.
It's a toxic culture. Okay, and I have to be balanced. I don't want to, be railing against the United States. This is my country. We are the most innovative, out-the-box thinking culture. We brought the world rock and roll and hip-hop and Apple computers, movies. Right. It's a glorious culture in so many ways.
I can't, this is also why, we thought, it's great. We'll be here for a bit while our kids are young. Sure. Because LA, there's a freedom here, a freedom of expression.
Freedom of expression.
And this creativity that you you don't have so much, especially in France.
Definitely.
When I moved there after growing up in downtown LA and then Hollywood, and I went to a kind of performing arts elementary school. And I was, raised by drag queens and living in with just around artists. And when I got to Lyon, it was a real culture shock.
So you went to Lyon, not Paris?
No, I don't know, because my aunt and my grandmother were living in Lyon.
Okay, and by the way, before you even go on to that, you are half American, half French.
Yeah, but I was born in Los Angeles.
Born in Los Angeles. Your mother is Michelle LeMay, and so you're raised here. You talk about being raised by drag queens. You were raised in a very avant-garde kind of way in Los Angeles.
Los Angeles, in downtown LA,
And your father is an artist, Richard Newton,
right.
and your father's cool. I really like your pop. I hope he's doing well.
Yeah, he is. He's doing really well. Thanks. Good. We lived in downtown when it was still really sketchy. It's still kind of sketch, but
mega sketchy.
But imagine what it was like in the early 80s.
Was it the same amount of homelessness now?
Oh yeah. My dad, he said he would go to the corner store and almost every time he went in there was a robbery.
Fuck.
Just for some, whatever the $2 they had in the cash register and some beers.
Right.
And sometimes it would be so sketch that they would park their car in front of the building, on the sidewalk, and open so that there was no way for anybody to
bolt into the door.
Just bolt, and then in the morning, there'd be people screaming, "Get your car out of here!" But yeah, so then we ended up moving to Hancock Park, which was a little more calm,
right?
A little more, shishi.
Oh, great! Yeah, you got away from the bolt from your car into the front door.
Exactly. But I still going up Highland to my school that was on Fountain and Highland. I remember one time being in the car, my dad says, "Get down, get down," and there was a drive-by shooting, and this guy got shot at the bus stop. And it was, and then there was the Rodney King riots and everything, and they closed down the school because it was right there, and of course, my parents who are major workaholics, they're all the way downtown, and I think I ended up staying at my principal's house, because they were like, "Oh, we can't get there right now."
Okay, but I want to frame this so.
Okay.
To finish the point, let me just finish the point, okay, about Europe. So you're going over there for a more humanist, a better quality of life. You become exhausted by the abuse, as have I. I'm moving my mother to Europe, actually.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Is she excited?
She's very excited.
Okay.
Yeah. And I just think, but I'm not one of these people saying Europe is the answer.
No,
that's
of course
why.
not. Neither am I. I just have the opportunity because my whole family has dual citizenship that we can do. It's easy. I guess I could go and live, I don't know, in Bali or something, but not that that's really any better.
Sure.
But.
So, I wanted to give balance to everyone. There's pros and cons everywhere, okay? Discussions, life is very nuanced, okay? There's no silver bullet for every solution. But I wanted to discuss that with you because I've been thinking about that a lot, Scarlett. The quality of life here